Okay, we're back with the part 2 of drawing out the mermaid. So my last recording got cut off, and I believe the part that was not recorded was putting in this side, her kind of fin ear that I have going on. I didn't do all the lines because her hair is going to be over part of it, so I just kind of did a few to help keep my my mind on track of what I'm trying not to fully cover. So hair will be over these areas. So once again, this is what we have at the moment from part 1. I'm using this reference of Peggy Dow, camera chameleon, actress from 1950s. Look at that, August 1950. So long ago. Anyhow, I did try to clean the magazine. I realized there was some dirt marks on it, and when I did that, you probably can't see it, but some of the ink came off. She's got white marks. So what I learned from that, I should never be an art historian. Should never restore art. So yeah, don't wipe off old magazines. The ink just comes off. But we still have her face, so we're good. Now, all right, let me grab my pencil here. So we're going back into, we talked about the B's and H's. You can use whatever pencil you want, but I'm going to start to use my B's a little bit more because they're darker to kind of get the hair in. So once again, we're still kind of, building out, and we'll go into shading in detail later. Feel free to pause if you need to jump into or take a break or use extra time. And we also talked about this build out, which was more of the looking at things as shapes. And so I might do a few more times. I think we got most everything built out, so maybe we won't have to go back to that. So all right, back to the hair now. Maybe I need to zoom in. Let's see what I got with her. Scoot Miss Peggy over here. Okay. So the hair. So I'm a big fan of Musha. I think that's how you pronounce it. I have to look that up. So there's lots of curls and twists and turns. So I'm gonna kind of start to do a few of those. So you can see I stopped right there because I probably will have one coming up this way. So I'm just, all those lines I built out, I'm now starting to kind of give it some form. So she's got a curl down here. And then I'm gonna swoop that up. And once again, you don't have to like put every line together. Some of you might take this to another level and, use color pencil in it, or if you want to take this to an acrylic painting next, it's always kind of fun just to do a bunch of drawings and then keep them on hand, and when you're ready to work a piece out a little bit more, you already have a sketch kind of ready to go. That's usually what I do with my pieces. So hair floating is getting things to go up and kind of at weird angles is always a kind of a good way to do it. And it's one of those things we don't see very often, so we kind of sometimes just take guesses. Or if you have time to grab some reference photos, that's also good. So I'm just gonna give her a few pieces here. So what I'm gonna do is take my kneaded eraser and go in. I'm just gonna remove this part of the fin because that would cover it up. And right here. All right. I'm gonna give her a few wispies here and there. Hair wisps. And then I'll have a few pieces coming up behind. This one will tuck. And then come up here. You can do whatever type of hair you like. Let's see, there's a hair piece here, so I'm gonna get rid of that fin area. This is where you start to kind of remove some lines. Let's see, I got one over here. So I make it really thin at the top and I get wider at the bottom. And in these areas you can kind of, do lines. If you look at hair, you can look at your own hair in the mirror, you could look at photo references, but you can do these kind of lines to give suggestions that there's other hairs in there, other strands. Once again, don't put all the lines together. So we're trying to avoid at least for this one, making it look cartoonish. My theory is that if you learn how to draw more realistic, you can always go back and, you know, take it into that cartoon arena a little bit more easier. Then, so I got some hair going on there. Now I'm gonna go to the left side and get the hair in there. Just give her a big hairdo. Those little curlies. I'm gonna swoop it up again. Just try to remind myself we're in water. Bring that down. And it's gonna be messy because that's how hair looks in the water. Let me bring this one around. I almost erased it, but you do see a little bit of hair kind of coming from around the crown of the head here. And I'll probably tuck the rest of the hair behind this fin. I might do like one random one over here. It's just kind of coming out. And there's the fin there. And then here's the other one. So then I'll do some more on this side. So just kind of doing big chunks of hair. I decided I didn't like that one. That was what happened there was, let me make sure you can see it. So this is something as an artist, it happens a lot. It's called like convergence lines, where sometimes you get to another line and you modify things just to work around it. And I did it there and it totally didn't work because now it looks like a big bulge right there. So I'm going to go in and erase, because that didn't look like what hair would look like. So I'm gonna try it again. I'm just gonna go in and get it behind there and then maybe bring it there. There we go. Now I don't have those two lines intersecting weird, or this one working outside of it. I'll probably just do some other wisps here and there. Make that one a little bit thicker at the bottom. And give a few little ones down below. So I'm still working on that, like I mentioned before. I like the idea of it kind of swooping around and up. It almost looks like, you know, now I look at the hair, I'm like, man, this would be cool as eels, like sea eels. So, you know, maybe the next one I do that, I'll add sea eels. But for now, like that would take some time. For now, I'm just gonna do this. I'm gonna put a few kind of wrapping around her shoulders. I'll have one kind of coming here by her neck. Okay, and just remind myself that these are the ears, or the way that this creature listens. Tuck another one right here. Another wispy. Okay, you could always add more later. Kind of liking where this is going, so I'm gonna leave that. And once again, yeah, you can start to erase some lines. So I'm gonna go with my kneaded eraser and get a really kind of thin tip here. There we go. And then I'll go back in, and you can see, if I get this close, you'll see, like, let's see if you can see that. There's some light lines here and there in the hair. And I'm just gonna go in and erase a little bit. And that way it'll help me kind of see everything a little bit more. So we're taking all of our gestural lines, our build out lines, and removing them. You know, once again, this is why I mentioned to draw lightly in that beginning. That's the build out phase. And this is a great practice for being very delicate in how you touch your artwork. The kneaded eraser and using a, you know, kind of a fine tip and just hitting the right points. Part of being an artist is learning how to control your hand, the pressure, so that you can do, you know, a multitude of things. And that's one of the big techniques, is how to control hand movement. All right, let's clean that hair up just a little bit. So I'll get that. And if you notice, like, even if you go over your thicker lines, it doesn't take much to get rid of the light lines, and the thick lines still stay because you did do a lighter kind of line work on it. I'm starting to see like my light lines are disappearing, not so much my dark lines. I mean, they're a little bit, but not that bad. I can see things still. I'm just gonna go over her face a little bit. Try to get rid of those ones around her eyes. There we go. I know some of you aren't working with the artist grade pencils, so hopefully this is working for you. If not, there's a link on the last email I sent that shows you the Faber-Castell and the kneaded erasers, so you could click on those and see, you know, you can get those or ask your parents to get them for you. They really are great pencils. You'll probably never go back to using a regular school pencil again. Or the kneaded. The kneaded eraser is fantastic. I would love to see schools just carry those. We tried a test with Genevieve's class, and I got them a bunch of kneaded erasers, and the kids ended up playing with them as sculpting items, which, you know, which I kind of liked because I got some creative time, but it was not helpful for the teacher's instruction. Anyhow, maybe, you know, the older kids could use the kneaded erasers correctly, of course. And like I said, they're self-healing. These last forever. I've had some of these since college, which was like, I don't even want to do the math, probably about 10 years ago now. But they just clean themselves, and they don't leave lots of that pink dust stuff you get from those other erasers, those big soap erasers. So, all right, back to her. We got lots of hair in. All right, we've done a lot of work, so I'm super excited to see what everyone's done. Now we get to dive into the detail. I'm just gonna take a quick photo of this so people can see like the transition. All right. Documenting done. Oh, I also recommend that. If you can document your work, the better it is for you to kind of go back and see things, like how it changes, just your process. All that stuff is really helpful. All right, let's talk about the eyes. So that's gonna be my next one. Let me sharpen my pencil. Zoom in here. The eyes are fun. I get lots of requests for eyes. So let me get my camera set here. Ta-da! Oh, it's on this arm thing that you can move, so I'll make sure it's not moving anymore. All right, I'm gonna use kind of a reference of these eyes. My daughter's eyes. All right. I mean, she's obviously, you know, we have a reference here, but I like to get a little bit more detailed, and this black and white doesn't show as much when it comes to fine detail. So I have my reference here. If you want to, you know, take a look for your own reference, or however you want to do the eyes. So let me get the darkest part set in. Make sure that's still focused. Yes. I should get down a little bit further. I have to move this camera a little bit more. Let's see, sorry. 1 second here. Okay. So, get the pupil set in. I'm just going really light. Once again. Now the reference I have, the lights were straight on ahead, so I'm not gonna do, there's 2 white areas in these eyes, so I'm gonna use the Life magazine reference, so just for the white. So I'm just gonna put 2 little dots right there. Let's see if you can see that. So I've got pupil there, the little white dot there, and it's just, once again, for me to just know not to fill that in. And then, with the eyes, you can see, let me see, you can zoom out a little. The what looks like, it looks like clearly like little lines around the outside. So I'm gonna do just a few. Like I said, this is not, this piece isn't about the eyes. So I wanna make sure I don't overdo the eyes too much or else all the focus will go on that. So I basically just did like these little lines around the eyes. You can see like little like teeny lines around the edges. Let's see, hold that still real quick. There's the other one. Focus. There you go. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right. So now we got that. I'm gonna put the darkest part up at the top. Remember, you want to think about shading. So I'm gonna go in and just do some really dark shading up here with my 2B, or you could just press harder with your other pencil. And then I'm gonna kind of lighten up when I get down close to the bottom. And I'm arcing over that white area and making sure I don't fill that in. So that way you already start to see lights to dark. Even though this is a small part of the piece, all these little things that you pay attention to as you're building it out will just make it more realistic and more convincing in the end. Okay. There we go. So it's pretty subtle. And then I might take my my lighter, my H. I'll get my H here. 6B, I don't want that. There's my H. And I'm gonna go and just do some very light edging on the sides where I have the lines. But try to keep that white space in between the pupils at. So just wrap around there. So you can see that. So dark up here, a little less dark around here, and then I went in and just lightly went over these lines so it has that edge. You can kind of see. All right, now the other thing we're gonna add is the eyelashes. I'm gonna go back to the other reference because hers are I think better. You can do whatever kind of eyelashes you want. Actually, now that I say that, I'm gonna do some funky mermaid eyelashes. So I'm going to just swoop this up. I'm gonna pretend like it's like sea kelp. So I'm just gonna give it some. Probably what I'll do first, because I changed my mind, obviously. I'm not doing regular eyelashes. I'm gonna get rid of this eyelid part first, because erasing that might be a little more difficult, because that's really teeny. You can always go back and put in the other ones. It's always good to do, you know, tons of different comps that helps you kind of come to the final piece. Like, I would never look at this piece as a final piece. It's more of like a creative concept piece. So I'm just gonna do some kelp lines in here, and they're just kind of sporadic. And probably do some openings, like that's an opening there. I might put a little one over here. This is the fun part about being an artist. You can make decisions as you go and change things. All right, so this is my eyelash. So that's my sea kelp eyelash, and I'm just gonna go in. I'm gonna lightly put this in. I would love to color this now, like a green, like a teal green, but for now I'm just gonna kind of make it a little bit darker. So we're going for the black and white. So another thing that an amazing teacher I had that taught me said to make sure that your piece is strong as a black and white, and then once you have it strong in that sense, you can take it to the next step, the next level, which would whatever medium you want to take it to. Whether that be pastels, watercolors, acrylics, markers, pencils, oils, graphite, charcoal. What else am I missing? What else is out there? I'm putting the line back in. All right. So there we go. This is more my Seek Help eyelash. All right, now let's hit the other side. So we're heading to the detail. We're making some fun creative decisions along the way. Yes, I can't wait for everyone to share their pieces. If you can make it to one of the classes listed in the emails, just send me an email and I'll send you the link. So it'd be fun. Or if you want to just send me your piece through email and can't join a class, that's fine too. I just love to see what I'm creating. All right, here's another one. There's Seek Help eyelash. Put a small one here. And I'll take this one out a little bit more. And this one I'm going to kind of have break the side of her face. Not, you know, like just break the frame, that's what I should say. That's what it's called. Breaking the frame. I just went outside of that line. And I just did a pattern. Let me show you. Like I said, it happens so easily in our brains. And this one looks exactly like that one, pretty much, like the opening on the left. Actually, the third one is too. Let me go back and I guess one of those things you just gotta really train your mind to not do it. And I'm in my 40s and I still have a problem with it. We're always trying to fix things and learn things, so that's mine. I'm trying to break patterns. All right, here we go. Let me try that one more time. And then I'll do this one. Okay. And I'll go in and fill that in. Like I said, feel free to give your mermaid whatever eyelashes you like. I did see an art piece from a student that they used colored pencil and then they went in and used like stones and glitter to create this unicorn. It was fantastic. See, I wouldn't even think about doing that. So I love it when kids share, or students share their work with me. Because yeah, the more we share, the more we can improve our skills and think of things that we didn't think of before. All right, so there we go. We got some mermaid eyes with Seek Help eyelashes. I'd love to kind of go more funky with her eyebrows, but I almost want to get rid of them and make like fish imprints, but excuse me. But I know we are on a time issue too. You know, this video is just a little late because I was trying this whole new setup. So I'm gonna actually keep the eyebrows. All right, so the next thing I'd work on is just doing some shading where we see her eyelids. So let me pull this. This is a very big magazine. I'm trying to fold a little bit. There you go. So basically looking at my arm around here, her eyes. So getting in these kind of darker areas here, some dark areas here, just really working this space. Because she's a younger person, I gotta make sure I don't put too many wrinkles, because then we'll start to make her look old really fast. So I gotta make sure that the shading is really subtle around here. So I'll show you how to go about doing that. Let me grab my H pencil again. So I'm gonna go in and start to shade in this side. And I'm kind of looking at her shadows, and like I said, the magazine does a great job of just kind of showing what this looks like. It looks like the lines are going in this direction. Like I wouldn't go up and down, that's gonna look really awkward. Just kind of the way the skin is laying and the way the lighting is, it just looks like the shadows are going in this direction. So I'm really trying to work my pencil in the way that the shadows are represented. And then another thing I'm probably gonna knock in right away is shading in this area. So this is the arc area of the nose right by the eyebrow, and it really kind of, this is where it's good to think about drawings like sculptures. Like if you were going in and making an indent to make sure that this eye area was recessed, you know, and if you hit light on it, the lines and the way the shadows look would kind of go more this direction. Like doing this direction, not so much, but up and down this way and at an angle. That's another thing too, kids can do at home. If you have Sculpey hanging around or anything to do sculptures, I recommend doing some sculptures, you know, putting them in the oven, you know, with your parents' assistance if needed, and take it out and then kind of draw what you created from multiple angles. That's another good practice. So now I've got that area set in there. She does have a few lines under her eyes. I'm just gonna take the light pencil and just kind of set just a few in, not too many, just to show that there's like a ridge going on there, the lower eye, and then I'll bring that upper eye in, eyelid. So she also has around her nose area, and I'll probably make this a little bit taller, that nostril. She also has a little bit of a smile mark, but not the whole area. So I'm just gonna do one here, and then it goes down. I'm just kind of following the path of what I see, the shadow, and then I'll put my pencil back down and get this corner mark for her smile. There's some shadowing or shading happening in there. So I'm gonna, and this is kind of how the skin's also folding around the cheek and the corner of her smile. So I'm gonna get that in there. Feel free to, you know, use your finger. I do that a lot for kind of blending. There's also a smudge stick, or let's see if I have one in my kit here. So it's a smudging tool. It looks like these big white pieces of rolled paper, and you can go in, they have them in all different sizes. You can go in and just kind of use this. It's more of a tip, so there's a little bit more control on it. These are great also. So I'm gonna just kind of pull this out a little bit more. I'll also find the link for these and send it on this email if you wanted to see what these are and order them. All right, now I'll probably bring this around this cheek area a little bit right here. So I'm just trying to fill in this area a little bit. I'm gonna go really lightly over here and bring it around there. So there's her cheek area. Just gonna give her some more definition, and you can see the reference. So yeah, it's really kind of dark right here. It's dark over here. And you got that line, a little bit of darkness there. So that's the part we filled in. Now we're gonna focus on doing some more of the nose. We've got some dark areas here. There's a nice light area we don't want to cover up, so keep that. So into the nose, onto the nose. All right, so her beginning of her nostril, we did that little bump up here initially to kind of let us know where the nose, the tip of the nose was at. Now the tip part is right here, so that's where the highlights are gonna hit pretty hard, and then the shadow starts to happen down here. So once again, I'm just going really light with my pencil. You don't have to put a lot, just to kind of give it that look of, we got some shading going on. And then under the nostril over here, just a little bit. So I want to keep this really light. We're still in the light areas. Then we're going to jump over to this side and get that dark area, because right now it's all white. Looks like a flat plane. So I'm going to kind of go at an angle like this to get that recessed area. You might want to do a few marks on this end, because that's where it starts to dip down right away, and then lighten up in this direction. And then